Greetings everyone from Upset Tower second floor Optiven Limited. Welcome to another show of Legalese. I am Ian Washira, your host for today, and today I'm joined by two very wonderful colleagues and great advocates of the High Court of Kenya. So on my left, I have Advocate Nafula Masinde.
Hi everyone.
Then on the farthest left, I have Josephine Movie. So probably you could say hi.
Hi.
So how has been your week?
Good.
Great.
Yes.
Nice to see you guys.
Thank you.
So today we're going to have a very interesting discussion, and this discussion has been had in various circles of practice, and even in different transactions. But it's something that many don't understand, and that is the process of completion. So many will ask you, what is completion and what does it entail? So I'll describe shortly what completion entails, and my colleagues here will expound further on the different types of completion in different transactions. So you'll ask yourself what completion is and what it entails. So basically, when you're done with your transaction, maybe you have a sale agreement, you've had it executed, and you don't know where to go from there. You have paid the purchase price in full as a purchaser, and from there, you don't know what next. So you don't know what to sign, you don't know where to go, and what to expect from the other party. So that is where completion comes in. So completion basically is the obligation of the vendor or the seller of a particular parcel of land to ensure that they furnish you with the relevant documents necessary for registering the property in your favor. So it is an obligation on the part of the vendor. They won't be just accepting money from you, right? So they have to ensure that this property is sufficiently taken care of and it is transferred to yourself. So there are various forms of completion depending on the type of title you're dealing with, and we shall describe specifically what we have at Optiven Limited, which is the leasehold titles and the freehold title. So Madam Nafula, I know you're very versed with the issues to do with freehold titles.
Yes,
so would you kindly take us through what entails the completion process in freehold titles?
So, I think I'm just majorly going to focus on the completion documents. So when it comes to freehold property, once you have finished paying, the vendor, in this case Optiven Limited, will give you certain documents to facilitate the registration and transfer to yourself. So of course the main completion document that we have is the original title deed. Because as we all know, the title deed is the evidence that you're the absolute owner of the property in question. Together with the title deed, at Optiven, we're going to give you the transfer document, and this one is usually done in triplicates. So the transfer document is essentially just evidence that ownership is being transferred from Optiven Limited, the vendor, to you, the purchaser. So it will be signed by both Optiven Limited, and then it will also be signed by yourself as the purchaser. So in the transfer document, we are also going to ask for your passport photos. They are going to be attached on the transfer document together with your full details. Now that we have the original title deed and the transfer document, we also have what we call the Land Control Board consent, in short, the LCB consent. So the LCB consent is a requirement that has been made, that has been provided for by the Land Control Act. So usually it is given in instances where we have agricultural property. So in addition to these documents that I have already mentioned, it's a requirement that as the vendor, Optiven Limited, we provide you with our certificate of incorporation, our KRA PIN as a company. We shall also give you the KRA PIN of our directors, and we shall also give you a copy of their national identity cards. So usually the essence of these particular documents is just for identification, to show that indeed the transfer that is being made is being done by a company that is duly registered, and it also proves that the people that are transferring this property to yourself as the purchaser are the duly registered directors of the company. I don't know whether I have forgotten anything in as far as freehold property is concerned.
Thank you.
For the completion documents?
You covered everything.
Okay, thank you.
So that's for freehold title, right? But I understand that the process is quite different when you're dealing with leasehold titles, where you have things to do with rates. Maybe there's a county government that there's a certain amount that we need to pay on a periodic basis. Then we have the national government where you pay some amounts. So you need to give comfort to this other party, who's the purchaser, that you have taken care of all of these transactions. And even for you to proceed with the registration, there are certain documents that are needed. Probably, Josephine, you can take us through what entails leasehold title completion.
Right, thank you for that. So for leasehold, as my colleague has rightly said, it's a bit different from freehold. So for leasehold, you need company documents, as my colleague Mafula has mentioned. You need the KRA PIN certificate for the company. You need the director's information, for instance, their passport photos, and also their KRA PINs and copies of national ID, as well as a certificate of incorporation for the company. Apart from that, you will also need it will be a bit different from the freehold one, because in this case you will not need a land consent from the Land Control Board. So that's a bit different, because under the law, Land Control Act, it stipulates that as someone who is trying to be a proprietor of a leasehold property, you don't need to have that consent by the Land Control Board. Apart from that, you will also need to provide a land rents and rates clearance certificate. Yes, and with all those documents, we now lodge them at the registrar. Apart from the transfer itself.
Okay, so if I'm a purchaser, I'd want to know what's the difference between a land rate and land rent clearance certificates.
So basically, rates are payable to the county government. Then rent is paid to the national government, now through the National Lands Commission, having now the capacity to discharge public land. Now, you see, leasehold titles are more of government land more than anything. Since the government has given you this property for maybe 900 and something years to utilize for a certain activity or whatever reason that they have given you for. So rates are payable to the county government, rent is paid to the national government. So that's the distinction. And each they have different certificates. So you won't get rates and rent clearance certificates in the same document. They are issued by two different entities.
Okay.
Yeah. Then there's also a misconstruction. I would call it a misconstruction of what completion also entails. Because someone may misconstrue the process in that once you have received all these documents, the transaction has ended.
Yeah.
But there's a certain provision in the Land Act which requires that if you wish to describe or if you wish to impose ownership on a certain property, you need to have title to that property as conclusive evidence.
Okay.
So what happens to this once I'm in receipt of these completion documents? Where do I go from there?
In fact, I was going to talk about that, because at Optiven, our current prices are inclusive of transfer and legal costs. So usually, if you opt to do the transfer with us, the only document you will get at the end of the completion period is the original title deed already transferred to your name. However, in an instance where you opt to do the transfer with your advocate, that is an external advocate, we will give you all these documents, and then it will now be upon your advocate to take them and lodge them for registration at the lands registry. So part of the things you're going to do in order to do the transfer is payment of stamp duty. Did we mention the stamp duty payment slip?
No, actually, it will come in when we are doing the registration. For instance, I'm the purchaser and I have all these completion documents. I'll take them, then go do valuation for stamp duty. Once I've done valuation for stamp duty, I proceed and pay stamp duty for that particular transaction.
Who does the valuation?
So it is the purchaser who's conducting the valuation, but it's through a government valuer. So they procure valuation of that particular property. So you won't go to a private valuer.
I was going to ask.
Exactly. You won't go to a private valuer. You have to procure a government valuer to conduct that particular valuation. Then you pay stamp duty. There's a system, the KRA government system, where you go and generate the e-slip for stamp duty. Then it calculates for you. Once you have keyed in the details accurately, it calculates for you how much stamp duty is payable. So you go pay, attach the receipt, then you go to the Commissioner of Taxes. Now the Commissioner of Taxes will do something is called franking. They're different places, yeah.
At the lands.
You go to the lands registry.
Okay.
There's one here in Nairobi.
Uh-huh.
They actually devolved kidogo. So we'll have some in Kajiado, we have in Nairobi, Mombasa. So they go and do franking. Once they have confirmed that you have paid stamp duty, franking will be done on your transfer instrument. Now, together with all these completion documents that you have collected from the vendor, you go and submit to the registrar for registration. Yeah, that's basically it. But you are describing the process that we have at Optiven,
Yeah.
where we don't have to give these documents to the client. Once they pay the purchase price, that's it.
Sit back, relax, wait for your time.
Wait for your title, yeah?
Yeah.
So it's fun investing with Optiven. Yeah?
Yes. So perhaps before we wind up, we can introduce our clients to our month's campaign. This month's campaign, as you're aware, as Optiven, each month we launch a new campaign. So the campaign for this month is
Shangilia Madaraka na
Optiven.
What does it entail?
So you pay 379,000, then you get 4,000 back as cashback. For now, thank you and bye-bye.